What is going on, Alabama fans? We are back with you guys here on the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. You guys know what we do here every single Sunday after the Crimson Tide play. It is our overreaction videos for you guys. Some of the most overreactions that I saw out there on social media. And man, were there more overreactions than I thought there would be for this game yesterday. But Alabama does win 27-20 in the 90th edition of the Iron Bowl. You get your sixth straight win against the Auburn Tigers, and most importantly, you advance to the SEC championship game and keep your season alive. So are you glad that Alabama won the 2025 Iron Bowl? Let me know. If you are, get down there and like today's video. I would assume that everybody watching this video right now is probably an Alabama fan, and you are probably happy that Alabama got the dub last night. So if you are, get down there and like today's video. All right, let's get into some of the overreactions here. We are into the playoffs, baby. I would say not so fast at this point right now. I still really do not know what this committee is going to do with Alabama if they end up losing the SEC championship game to the Georgia Bulldogs. There was only one team this weekend who is ranked above Alabama. That was Texas A&M, who ended up losing their game. So I would assume they're not going to end up dropping, lower than 10 where Alabama's at right now in the, college football playoff rankings. So Alabama's still probably going to be at 10 after this weekend. And with this college football playoff committee, I think it is going to be different than it was last year with SMU losing in the ACC championship game. That was only their second loss of the season. If Alabama does end up losing to Georgia, that would be their third loss on the season. With this college football playoff committee, I'm not I'm not counting any chickens before they hatch at this point right now. So I still think Alabama has to win the SEC championship game if they want to, continue their season here and get into the college football playoffs. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Alabama has to win the SEC championship game to get into the playoffs? Let me know what you guys think down at the pinned comment of today's video. Type Y for yes or N for no. All right, overreaction number 2. Ryan Williams is cooked. I'll be honest, I have no idea what the deal is with Ryan Williams right now. He was he didn't see a lot of action in yesterday's game at all. Maybe he's hurt right now. I don't know if he is hurt. He hasn't been on the availability report. I don't know what the deal is. He had no targets versus Auburn. This season, just in general, has only had one game with over 100 yards. I think that was that Wisconsin game. I think against Vanderbilt, he had 98 yards or something like that. But still, when you're talking about a guy as talented as Ryan Williams, you would expect more than what you're getting from him right now. And I don't want to harp on it too much. Really, I just want answers at this point of what the deal is right now with Ryan Williams. Like I said, didn't have a single target in that game last night versus Auburn. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what's going on with him. But earlier in the season, he's had the dropsies in that game. Last week against Eastern Illinois, dropped another touchdown pass. I think he's like 8 or 9 drops so far this season. I don't know what the deal is. I don't want to say this is not an overreaction. Ryan Williams is cooked, but I think there's something more going on probably at this point that we just don't really know. But it really sucks. I really need, Ryan Williams to be a staple in this Alabama offense right now. And I just genuinely have no idea why he's not getting featured more in the offense and, why he's having the issues that he has so far this year. All right, we'll continue here in just a second with some more overreactions. But first, this episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season right now. Best time of the year for sports. You have bowl games coming up right around the corner. You got college basketball in full swing right now. Playoff pushes going on. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are making decisions every single day, what gifts to buy here around the holiday season, what leftovers to eat from Thanksgiving, and so much more, what games to watch, there is only one place where it feels good to be right, and that is on Prize Picks. By the way, we got a new feature alert here on Prize Picks. They now offer early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out on those winnings before the game even finishes. Now, so far this season, I have done a decent job on Prize Picks, going with the power play sometimes, going with the flex play sometimes. Last night, I was over. I thought going into this game, it was going to be a pretty decent lineup here. Going with Eric Singleton, more than 31.5 receiving yards. He ended up with only 26 receiving yards in this game. Now, he did have a ton of drops for the Auburn Tigers, so if he would have caught those balls, that one would have hit at the end of the day. Ty Simpson, though, only ended the game with 122 passing yards, so I went with a more than on that 276.5 passing yard projection there. That one did not even come close. Like I said, Prize Picks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose the flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. But if you want the biggest payouts, go with the power play. But no matter how you play, Prize Picks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link, by the way, down in the comment section and the description of today's video. We appreciate Prize Picks for being the sponsor of our show today. All right, overreaction number 3, Bray Hubbard is the man. I continue to believe that he is one of the, if not the best player on this Alabama defense right now. Just another game forcing multiple turnovers. Had the interception in the game, also had that forced fumble at the end of the game as well. I believe even Kalen DeBoer at the end of the game during his post-game press conference said Bray Hubbard was a little bit under the weather, whether it was during practice this week or in this actual game against Auburn, man. It was his 4th interception of the season. He continues to lead Alabama in interceptions, and I believe now that is multiple forced fumbles for Bray Hubbard so far this season. Let me just go up to my notes here real quick and kind of double check that. But man, Bray Hubbard, he has been an absolute dog for Alabama this season. Yeah, he's got 4 interceptions this season and now has 3 forced fumbles. He just continues to play out of his mind every single day. And, if it's not Deontay Lawson, Bray Hubbard right now is the best player on this Alabama defense. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to the Alabama Football Report. We will be live next week for Alabama versus Georgia, just as God intended in the SEC championship game. So do not miss out. Join the community here at the Alabama Football Report, and we'll keep you updated on all things Crimson Tide news. All right, overreaction number 4. Kalen DeBoer has massive balls. No overreaction right here. Alabama went for it on 4th down 3 times versus Auburn yesterday. Went 3 for 3 on 4th downs, including, by the way, that 6-yard touchdown pass to Isaiah Horton. That was on 4th and 2. Kalen DeBoer saying after the game that, quote, I figured it was 29 yards shorter than the last time we needed a touchdown when we were here. He just continues to prove himself that, yes, Kalen DeBoer is the guy for Alabama. I know there's still a lot of people out there that, whatever, they think he's soft or, they think he's not the guy. I think at this point, this pretty much, with the win over Auburn, this pretty much kills all the rumors out there, quote-unquote rumors, about Kalen DeBoer going to Penn State. Now 2-0 against the Auburn Tigers in his second year as Alabama's head coach now. He is now making an appearance in the SEC championship. By the way, he's also 2-0 against the Georgia Bulldogs as well, and he is on the verge of making it into the college football playoffs in his second season. All right, overreaction number 5. I saw some people out there saying this. Alabama played terrible against Auburn. Get over yourself. Look, at the end of the day, yeah, was it a closer game than we necessarily wanted it to be? Yeah, it was 27-20. But every single time Alabama goes to Jordan-Hare Stadium, it is a close football game. I'm just going to scroll down here in some of my graphics here because I know I have a graphic made for this. The last 5 times that Alabama has played at Auburn, by the way, all of these are under Nick Saban. 2015, not necessarily a very close game there. Auburn wins in 2017. Alabama was the number 1 ranked team that season. Auburn was number 6, so that was a close matchup there. 2019, that was the year when Tua ended up getting hurt, but that's another close game as well, where in a game that got really fluky in Jordan-Hare Stadium. How about 2021 when Alabama went to the national championship game? They ended up winning that game, but it was very, very close. It was 3-0. With like a minute 30 left to go in that game. You have to have a Bryce Young Heisman moment. You have to go into 4 overtimes to end up winning that game. And then 2 years ago, you make it to the college football semifinals. You lose that game against Michigan, whatever. But that was another close game as well. You had to have that, 4th and 31 to end up winning that game. And by the way, I believe that was against Cadillac Williams, another interim head coach. So every single time Alabama goes to Jordan-Hare Stadium, freaky things happen. And yeah, in the second half, Alabama didn't really play so great, especially on defense. The offense did kind of struggle all day long, but you did some good stuff running the football yesterday. And you did some good stuff, forcing those turnovers when you needed to. You made some big plays when you needed to. So anybody out there saying, oh, Alabama played absolutely terrible against Auburn, and they're a bad team. Well, look, we also know, by the way, that they had a really good defense coming into this game as well. I know I got another graphic for that. I'll just scroll down real quick and find the Auburn, defensive rankings coming into this game. Yeah, there's people out there that act like, this Auburn team was the same Auburn team that, was playing under Hugh Freeze. It's completely different at this point right now. Coming into the football game, you scored more than what they were averaging giving up on defense. I believe you rushed the ball. Yeah, Alabama had 158 yards rushing the ball. Auburn's averaging giving up 94 yards per game. They did a good job in pass defense, but you were able to do some really good things in that game. And look, at the end of the day, you come away with the win. You're going now to the SEC championship game in Kalen DeBoer's second year. You now have 6 straight seasons wins against the Auburn Tigers. Look, future's bright under Kalen DeBoer. Let's just get over it at this point. You don't have to, go out there and say Alabama played great or anything like that, but anybody's butthurt that Alabama only won the Iron Bowl, a game that, is always crazy, especially when you were playing at Auburn by 7 points. I think you just need to get over yourself.